Hey everybody, Scary Spikes here, welcoming you to more coverage of Star Citizen. This will be a full-length, comprehensive guide for new players, so if you were brand new and you're looking to get into the verse, I invite you to sit back, relax, grab a drink and some snacks, and follow along as we get you acquainted. And the first step is to make an account. So go ahead and get yourself over to the RSI website. Over on the right-hand side, make sure to pick a screen name for yourself. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Before going any further, I just wanted to say it will be a bit of a long video, but it is step by step, and we'll try to cover as much as possible to make your introduction to the verse easy. So do watch the full video if you can, as you'll get the full benefit when doing so. So we're just going to go ahead and plug in our email as well here, and yes, I did create that email address just for this video. So there will be a few Easter eggs if you can find them, and if you do, just go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. We'll see if you're right. So we'll move on. We'll pick a strong password as well as our date of birth here. Of course, this is just nonsensical at this point. We're just making a fake account, but really just to illustrate what you need to do in order to make an account for yourself. And also, I would recommend making your password a phrase, something that you can easily remember, instead of something that is just a word or two. Now, this button here will allow you to enter a code from a friend, and it just so happens very conveniently that you can find one of these codes in each of my Star Citizen videos. Just go ahead and select it. Control-C will copy the code, Control-V will paste it in, and that code is for new players only, and it will give you 5,000 aUEC. That's the money in the game, in addition to any money you might start with as a result of whatever package you decide to buy. Alright, so that's just my password manager. Just going to go ahead and accept that, and when we're ready to go, just going to go ahead and click on Play Now. And that'll take us into the site where we get to choose our ship and our package. So each of these ships comes with the package, and the package includes a self-land hangar, as you'll see later on, as well as the ship of your choice, 3 months insurance, and of course access to Star Citizen. If you want some more information on either of these two ships, I do a comparison, just check out the video in the top right hand corner of the screen now. So we're just going to go ahead and pick one of our ships. I'm going to prefer the Mustang, so I'm just going to go ahead and select that. And when we scroll down, we'll see an opportunity to purchase Squadron 42 ahead of time as well. This is still in development. If you've not heard of it, it is the single-player campaign also developed by CIG, which will be out at some point in the future. So if you'd like to pick it up now, you can, and you'll get a nice discount. As you can see there, it's only going to cost you 20 bucks. If you want to pick it up later separately as a part of just a standalone purchase, then you'll be paying 45. So if you're interested in that, worth it to pick it up. But for me and for our purposes today, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that and move on. So when you're ready to purchase, just go ahead through the checkout process here. Make sure to apply any coupon codes if you happen to have any. And make sure to also go through the details here. That's quite important. If you agree to that, go ahead and click that button. And then just go ahead and click here to add your details, and you're good to go. Once you've purchased your package, you can go ahead and click on My Account and then go over to My Hangar. And in here, you'll be able to see any ships or any packages that you purchase, with the exception of anything that you buy in the game. So any pledges you make will show up here. Additionally, if you wanted to buy more ships, or if you wanted to pledge more to the project and get some additional swag, you can go ahead and get into the pledge store here. As you can see, these are the two main packs. Now, just so you know, it's not necessary to buy a second pack. Once you bought one pack, you have access to Star Citizen. So you don't need to buy 2 packs if you want the ship. You can do it totally standalone, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment here. So you'll notice here, we actually have 2 game packages, and you really want to avoid buying them because you really only need one, as I said. So we'll just go ahead and get rid of the one that we don't need. And then we'll go back to the pledge store, and I'll show you how you can purchase a standalone ship. Alright, so in the menu bar, you'll just need to select the ship option here. And this will take you to the standalone ships. Note that you can do searches, and you can organize them by name. And you can also organize them by other information, which you can see over on the left-hand side. So you have different types of ships, different models, sizes, and so on. So you can definitely play around with that to find the ship that's right for you. Since we already know what we're looking for, just going to go ahead and type that in, and there it is. Go ahead and click on that, and all the information that you need about the ship will be listed here, including all of the specifications, weapons, armaments, and any modules that come on the ship, as well as comparisons to other ship in a line if the ship is part of a line. And as you can see here, we can pick up the ship alone without the game package for significantly less, only $25. So if you're looking to buy that ship alone, in addition to any packages that you might have on your account, that's how you would do it. It's pretty simple. Alright, so at this point we're ready to start the game. Just go ahead and launch the launcher. There's just a few basic things to go over here. Here's just some information about news that are coming up as time goes on and as development goes on. So you can go ahead and read that. And the latest patch notes are also available here. Finally, in the final tab here, there's some settings that you can choose, and this button right here might save you a few times. If you have any difficulties logging into the game, go ahead and click that, and that should resolve any issues you have. Once you're ready to get in the game, just click this button. Okay, so you've made it into the game. Awesome. So there's a few things to go over really quickly before we get into the actual game, and that's these buttons down here. That'll exit the game, and here, this will take you into your options. You have your basic game options here, although there's a plethora of different options to choose from, so go through that at your own time. Then you also have your graphics options and your audio options, and some other options up here as well to adjust many different facets of the game. Additionally, you have your key bindings, and this will allow you to just get a quick look and a quick glimpse as to what everything does. There is a zoom feature as well. You don't need to do anything, just hover your mouse over and it will give you a better look. Down here you can choose whether you want the in-flight or on-foot controls, and that will change accordingly. Also, clicking down here will allow you to specify your controls to your liking, and you can adjust everything to your heart's content here. Finally, we have comms and head tracking as well as miscellaneous settings. Just keep an eye on this setting here, which mutes your microphone. It defaults to yes. If this stays on, nobody will be able to hear you. So if you want to use voice comms, just go ahead and select that to no, and select all the other settings to your liking as you desire. There are two additional modes to the regular mode in Star Citizen, and that's Arena Commander as well as Star Marine, and these are ship-based and FPS-based combat modes respectively. At the moment we're interested in Persist the Universe, so we'll just go ahead and select this. And if it's your first time here, you will be asked to create a character at this point, and thankfully there's lots of options to choose from in Star Citizen Alpha. I'm going to go here just to show you what it will look like. And if it's your first time here, you'll notice at the bottom of your screen that you will need to click a button in order to start modifying your appearance. Use these arrows here to change different types of features, and use the slider bar to add however much of those features you want to your character's look. And you can play with these to your heart's content to create a character that's completely customized to your liking. And even once you've already created your character, you can always come back here and even change your sex if you'd like to do that. As a citizen of the verse, you are also very likely going to have your very own hangar. Depending on the ships that you purchase, you can have a number of different hangars available to you, with better hangars coming with more prestigious and admittedly more expensive ships. With one of the two starter ships that you'll purchase in one of the two packs that we've talked about though, you'll get this, the Self-Land Hangar. It's a pretty basic hangar, but in any case you're able to decorate it to your heart's content with any decorative items that you may have purchased, and you can also view your ships in a more intimate and private setting. Here you can select the server you'd like to connect to. Personally, I would leave it at best unless I'm having issues with the server. In that case, I would choose one that's outside of my area. When you're ready to play the game, just go ahead and click this button and we'll see you inside. If you're having any issues loading the game, or taking too long to load the game that is, try installing the game on an SSD. It'll load much faster and your sanity will thank you. Prior to entering the game for the first time, you'll be asked if you'd like to spawn at Lorville, which is on Hurston, Area 18, which is on ArcCorp, or New Babbage, which is on Microtech. When you finally do spawn in, you'll be laying in a bed, just like this. Have a look around with your mouse, and when you're ready to get up, hold F to initiate the inner thought system, and you'll have some options to get up on either side. Now you can also press Y, which is the standard key used to get out of most situations like getting out of bed, getting up from chairs, and getting out of the pilot's seat in your ship. Don't worry, we'll go over that later. So let's have a walk around, and if you notice that you're walking a little bit slow, maybe that your mouse wheel is turned down, so go ahead and turn your mouse wheel up and that will adjust your walking speed. You can have a look around inside your room, but honestly there's not a whole lot to do here, so we're just going to have a quick look in here just to get an idea of what you can do with the F key. It's your standard interaction key, by the way, so you'll be using that quite a bit. So we're just going to head towards the door here. If it's open, it should open by itself, but you can also open them manually just like that. And this is our first look at Star Citizen. So welcome, you've finally made it, and I'm glad you're here. So this is the Lorville location here. As I said before, it's on the planet Hurston. You'll notice each of these are named after companies that own the particular planets. You can get into these external views by pressing F4, and once you're in the external view, you can hold Z or Z depending on what part of the world you're from, and if you do that, you can use your mouse to rotate and get a cinematic angle and look at your sexy character in all of their splendor. To get back to the first person camera, just go ahead and hit F4 and toggle the camera all the way back to the first person view, and we'll just walk over to the elevator here so we can take it to the lobby and head over to the spaceport where we're going to take out our first ship. So at the elevator here, just going to look over on the right hand side, and again hold F, that's your main interaction button. Click with your left mouse button to make a selection, and then wait for the elevator. Thankfully there's no horrible elevator music, and don't get any ideas, CIG. Okay, once you're inside the elevator, just go ahead and do what we did before. Hold F and use your mouse and left mouse button to select where you'd like to go. And in this case, we're going to the main floor. You can also use the control button to crouch and the X button to prone, and you can choose whether you'd like to have these toggle or if you need to hold them down in order to achieve their desired effect. You can do all of that in the settings. Alright, let's get back up and get out of here before this elevator closes. And welcome to Lorville. There's quite a few things here in Lorville. There's a number of shops and places where you can get food and drink. But at the moment, we're just going to make a beeline for the spaceport. Go ahead and press space to jump. And look at that beautiful view. Not really, it's really smoggy, but hey, it's as good as it's going to get. Let's go up the stairs here, hang a quick left. You can also press shift to run quickly. That'll make you run faster, even faster than if you have your mouse wheel all the way up to walk as fast as possible. So that'll help you to get around quite quickly. And this is what we're looking for here. We're going to be taking the metro. We're currently at Metro Center, and we're looking to take the blue line on the metro, which will take us to the spaceport. There are also other lines here that can take you to other areas around Lorville, but at the moment we're just going to go straight into the blue line and we'll take that to the spaceport. Alright, the train's here. We're going to get on and head over to the spaceport, and as you can see here, there's some seats. You can definitely have a seat, and you can use F as always. You'll get the interaction. If you don't get the interaction, it means you're too far away. Just go ahead and get a little closer and you should be fine. Go ahead and press Y to get out of your seat. This is going to be a very familiar button to you very soon, as you'll be using it, as I said before, to exit all manner of different kind of seated or laying down positions, and that includes everything on your ship, including the captain's seat. And so you'll be using it quite often, and I'm sure you'll get used to it over time. We're just going to follow this path here to get into the spaceport. If you've watched one of my previous videos, you may remember this path. It is the same Teasa spaceport as in the previous video here at Lorville. We'll just go up the steps here, and there she is. So there's a lot to take in here, but the first thing that we're interested in are the terminals over on the left-hand side here. So just go ahead and approach one of these terminals, and you can either hold F and press the left mouse button to use it, or you can just tap F when you're close enough to interact with it. Click the retrieve button to retrieve your ship, and after a few moments, the system will let you know which hangar your ship is in. If you encounter any issues, just know that there's probably a good reason for it. There's currently a bug going around that if your ship is despawned after inactivity, you won't be able to retrieve it normally. Instead of the retrieve button, you'll get a claim button, but it won't work at the station where you last retrieved your ship. That means you'll have to move to another station and claim your ship from there. Unfortunately, this is what happened with my Cutlass Black, and I'm not able to retrieve it here, so we're just going to go ahead and pick a different ship for now. I think for now, just for demonstration purposes, a good ship would be the Consolidated Outland Mustang Alpha. That's one of the ships I talked about in my previous video, and is one of the 2 ships you can get in the starter packages, so this would be a pretty good example. Okay, so we see that the ship has been spawned and it's available in Hangar 9. So we'll just walk away from the terminal and we'll run past the new deal. This is probably a place we'll revisit in another video. This is basically a ship dealership where you can buy ships for Alpha UEC. That's the United Earth credits, that's the currency inside the game. And we'll definitely cover that in a future video, so keep your eyes peeled for that. There's a few other points of interest here. The elevators are just down that way. They'll take you to the hangars. And then here you can find ships for rent. So if you're looking for a particular ship that you'd like to try before buying, or maybe you just want to buy a ship to use to make some money before you're able to afford a bigger one, and this is the place to do it. And just keep an eye on this one because that'll be in a future video too. Alright, so we'll just pull a 180 here, we'll go back towards the elevators, and we'll get ourselves over to hangar number 9, and that's where our Mustang will be waiting for us. As your muscle memory probably remembers by now, just go ahead and hold F and click with your left mouse button to make your selection. Some of these may appear off the screen, just go ahead and nudge your mouse in the direction where you want to go and you should be fine. While we're waiting here, let's open up the Mobiglas. You can do that by pressing F1. You can see a number of different things here, including the amount of money you have, your status, as well as information about your suit and the environment. And don't worry, we'll go into more detail about this later on. Okay, so here we are, we're at hangar number 9, and our Mustang is here, waiting for us as expected. Let's get around the other side, get in, and get out of here. You'll notice that the hangar that we're in is a pretty generous size for the size of the ship. This is one of the smallest hangars that you can get, as it's one of the smallest ships that we have here. But just know that when you get larger ships, sometimes some of the larger ships are a little bit too big for the hangars that they're in. You might find it a little bit difficult getting out, especially if there's any weather outside. We'll go ahead and press 1 here to get back into the Mobiglas, and this is one of 2 ways that you can contact the ATC to get yourself out of the hangar, to get the doors open. So you can just click on that little button there, and that will contact them. They'll go ahead and open the doors for you, but you can also do this from inside your ship, so don't worry. There's usually more than one way to skin a space cat in Star Citizen. Getting into the ship here, you'll see a very familiar sight if you've seen my previous video. Don't worry about the canopy if it opens up on you, that's a bug. Just press R to start your ship and make it flight ready. And what that will do is automatically turn on the power as well as the engines on your ship, and you'll be good to go. Let's just have a quick look around to make sure that everything is honky-dory. I haven't used that word in a while. Okay, never mind. The hangar's open, we're good to go. Before we go though, let me just show you a second way to contact ATC and how to change any of these screens here, because you can totally customize them. Hold F, you'll get the cursor, and just go over to any of the top left-hand corners there. Go ahead and select a menu, and then you'll get a choice of different screens. So this is the way that you can contact ATC, and quite frankly, it's the way that I prefer to contact ATC, but nevertheless, I digress. Let's get going. Use your mouse wheel to adjust your limiter. That will limit the speed that you can go. And we'll press spacebar here to lift off. The hangar is very likely going to close under us, and just like in first-person view, you can press F4 to get the external view. Then you can either hold Z and move your mouse, or press Z to toggle the free look, as I'm doing here. Press N to bring up the landing gear, and then we'll go over some controls. Press Ctrl to move downwards, and space to move upwards vertically. A to strafe to the left, and D to strafe to the right laterally. And W to move forward, and S to move backwards. To control pitch and yaw, just use your mouse up and down as well as left and right respectively, and know that even in this first person view inside of your ship, you can press or hold Z to enter free look so you can get a better look around your surroundings. Now when you're watching this video, this might not apply anymore, but in 3.11.1 we still have these horrible landing splines. After checking the roll with Q and E, we're good to go. So just go through the splines and watch your speed, because the autopilot will kill you. When you're ready to go, just go ahead and increase the speed limiter on your ship by mouse wheeling up. You can also decrease it by mouse wheeling down, and you can hold W to move forward as mentioned before. Note that if you don't want to hold W, you don't have to. You can just turn on the cruise control by pressing C, and that will simply maintain your speed at the highest level allowed by your speed limiter, which then you can limit by your mouse, which makes it a bit easier to control the speed of your ship, and especially if you're taking off or landing. Now the kind of flight that we're in at the moment is called SCM, so when you notice that there's speeds posted for different types of ships, there's going to be a max speed and an SCM speed. The SCM speed typically applies when you're in atmosphere, like we are now, and the maximum speed can usually be achieved once you're outside the laws of gravity in deep, dark space. Now, in order to be able to leave this area and quantum travel, which is the fast travel in the game, which allows you to get from distant planets to other distant planets, you'll need to get out of the atmosphere first, and for Hurston, that's 9,000 meters, roughly. Each planet or moon might have different varying amounts of distance that you need to get before you will be allowed to quantum travel, and the moons especially are usually pretty low, so in most cases you only need to be a few thousand meters above the ground, and then you can quantum travel by pressing B to activate your quantum drive. Alright, so it looks like we're just about ready to quantum drive here, or quantum travel as it's known. We'll just have a look around. It's a really beautiful view. I really love the view out of this ship. So the first thing you'll need to do in order to quantum travel is press F2. That'll open your map. Note that sometimes you may have to double right click to get the map to pop up anywhere in the open space here, but if that doesn't work, you may need to toggle between some of the tabs at the bottom of the screen. So I'll just quickly do that and see if it does anything. This is also a pretty common issue, and most of the things that you run into can be resolved by just doing them a couple of times. Alright, there we go. So you can use the left mouse button to maneuver things around. I usually like to look at this map from the top down, as it kind of makes everything just a little bit easier to click on. But you can see that we have quite a large system here. This is the Stanton system, and we are pretty close to the center of it here at Hurston. So we'll just go ahead and maneuver the map so it's easier to see. And today we'll be flying over to Port Olisar, which is in the Crusader area, close to the gas giant known as Crusader. And in order to get there, we'll just need to plot a route. So double left click will zoom you in. You can also zoom in with the mouse wheel if you wanted to get a closer look at some of the landing zones, which on the big planets are pretty close together. So you want to zoom in with your mouse wheel to make sure that you get the right one. And if you want to zoom out, you can just go ahead and double right click. That'll get you back into this view. So we're going to Port Olisar, as I said. That is near Crusader. And if you're wondering about the names of these different planets, I'll try to explain that a little bit later. In any case, we'll click on Port Olisar, and then we'll click on Set Route. What you're looking for to confirm that you've set your route correctly is this solid green line. You'll need to make sure that that's there, as well as the turn by turn up on the left-hand corner. Once you've done that, then go ahead and press F2 to get out, and you'll be able to press B to spool your quantum drive. And at this point, if you've set your route correctly, you should only have one destination. Note that if you don't set your route, you will have many different destinations, and that might be helpful just to quantum travel to a random place to avoid a bug, but in most cases you will want to set your route. So as we can see there, we have Crusader, and in most cases the routing system will take you to the next nearest planetary body or celestial body before taking you to your actual destination, so don't worry too much about that. Hold B to initiate your quantum drive once it's spooled and calibrated. And there you go, you've just initiated quantum travel for the very first time. We'll have a look at this a little bit later in the video, but just know that the speed of your quantum travel does depend on a few things. The first is obviously how far you're going, so if you're traveling across the system, don't expect that it's going to take less than a minute or two. But also the quality of your drive makes a big difference. As we'll explore a little bit later in the video, there are different size, different quality, and different classes of components that you can get, and of course one of those is a quantum drive. And those variables will determine how fast your drive will spool up, and how long it will take to calibrate, and how long it will take to cool down once you've made a long jump. And just so you're aware, you are in free look by default when you're inside the first person view of your ship during quantum travel, so this is completely normal, but you'll still need to hold F if you want to interact with any of your screens. Holding F, you can mouse wheel up or mouse wheel down to zoom in or zoom out respectively, which will help you to get a better look at all the different screens so that you can set them up to your liking. In the shield section here, you can see that there are front, side, and rear shields, and you can adjust the power of those shields and where you want them distributed by the 2, 4, 6, and 8 buttons on your numpad. This will redistribute power to the area of the ship where it's needed most, and reduce power from areas where it's not. You can also reset this by pressing 5 on your numpad. This is the enunciator panel. It's common on most ships, and it will tell you whenever you have major critical errors with your ship, such as issues with overheating or when your quantum drive is failing. You can also adjust the screens on this side as you can on the other side, and you can have a look at all the different systems of your ship and what they're doing at any given time. This here is the weapons loadout screen, so it will show you the amount of guns that you have available, as well as missiles, what's online, what's healthy, what's destroyed, what's overheating, and the number of other pieces of information that will be important to maintaining the health of your ship. Alright, so we've made it, the quantum jump is over, and we're finally at Crusader. Now again, it can take quite a while, and when you do arrive, you should expect that you'll have a countdown or a cooldown of your quantum drive. This can be seen on the right hand side. There's sort of like a half spherical indicator, and it'll be red to let you know that your quantum drive is currently cooling down. Note that during this time you're not able to make any other jumps, but you can spool your drive in order to get ready for the next jump. So that's usually a time-saving measure that you can take to get yourself around the verse pretty quickly. Okay, so we've made it to Port Olisar. Now there's a few things to keep in mind when you are jumping into an area where there's no atmosphere. So unlike Hurston, the planet that we were leaving earlier, there's really no friction here in the vacuum of space, which means that if you're going quick, you might want to try to slow yourself down. And one of the things that I do in the beginning, when I first drop out of quantum travel, is I press C to remove my auto throttle. And then I also decrease my limiter so that I'm not moving quite so fast. If I'm a little late on the draw there and I'm still moving quite quickly and too fast to be able to slow down normally to get to my pad in one piece, then I'll be holding down the X button, which will activate the space brake, and that will slow you down quite a bit. Note that if you're a little bit more advanced, you can also do a 180 and allow your thrusters at full speed to slow you down, but it takes a little bit of maneuvering practice and a little bit of time to get used to it. Make sure that you lower your landing gear when you come in for a landing and gradually reduce your speed limiter so again, you don't turn into confetti when you hit the station inevitably. Landing can be a little tricky, especially for newcomers, so just make sure that you're reducing your limiter using the mouse wheel and that you're taking it easy with your maneuvering in general. You'll want to get close to the pad and then use control to get yourself a little bit lower, and once you're low enough, if you'd like, you can hold N and the computer will land your ship for you. If this doesn't work, it means you're a little bit above the pad or a little bit too far away from the pad, so you do need to be relatively close in order to have it auto land. With that being said, you're pretty much ready to get out. Just press I to turn off your engines and U to turn off your power, unless you're trading. More info in the video up on the top right hand corner. And then just press Y to get out of your ship. Now, if you're in a smaller ship like this, Y will actually put you out of your ship, but if you're in a larger ship, it'll just take you out of the pilot's seat. So there's just something to keep in mind there. And unfortunately, I've forgotten to turn off my power and my engines, so I'm just doing that quickly now. One of the other benefits of turning off your engines is that if your engines are on and there's a weather event happening wherever you landed, it's very well possible that your ship actually has enough power that it's able to be affected by the weather and be swept away or even just flipped upside down. So it's always good practice when you're getting out of your ship, even if it's for a short period of time, to make sure to turn off the engines and the power. And again, if you're trading, that would be the only exception where you'd like to leave the power on so your shields are completely charged by the time you get back after buying your commodities. There's a couple of things to keep in mind when you're traversing between the vacuum of space and the inside of a building. For one, you'll see this here, which you can actually activate by pressing F when you're close enough or holding F and pressing the left mouse button. Just note that if it's already green, the inside of it is depressurized, so you should be able to walk in and the sensor should be able to detect you and open the door for you. If it's not, you'll need to hold F and press the left mouse button. If it's red, it means that it's being depressurized or pressurized, and you'll need to wait for the door to open. These consoles here are quite common in the verse, and they'll allow you to pay off any fines that you have, so it would be recommended to do that so as to be able to continue to land at law-abiding stations. This is a refinery console, so you can refine all of your mined ores. Keep in mind that you will be able to do that on refinery decks, which is coming in 3.12. These are ship retrieval consoles, you should be quite familiar with those. And here specifically at Port Olisar is the trade console where you can sell any commodities that you've bought from other outposts. Let's check out some of the shops here at Port Olisar and I'll tell you all about drinking and eating. Light survival mechanics are built into Star Citizen, which means that you will have to drink and eat not to die. And one of the very common ways of doing so is doing it at your own pace. And in order to do that, you need to be able to put your items into your personal inventory seen here. You can put most small items like water bottles and MREs into your inventory and you can access them later to have when you need them. You can also access other functions using this wheel, which you can bring up by holding F and clicking the right mouse button. Notice that whenever you use an action, it's usually placed there so that you can use it again in the quick access wheel that pops up as soon as you click the right mouse button after holding F. Note that you can also save things as favorites yourself, and you can also assign buttons so that you don't have to open the wheel when you want to perform a certain action. You can do that in the settings screen that you've seen earlier in the video. If you've done so, you should see the letter or number corresponding to the key that you assigned just in the inner circle here next to the action that you want to perform. Once you do it for the first time here from this location, you should be able to have it set as your favorite automatically to remove or equip your helmet whenever you need to do it. Nice, that's much better. Now let's head into this Kasaba and have a couple of drinks. In most shops, you'll usually find either food or drink, or in some cases both, depending on the shop. Some shops are specific to food or drink, but then sometimes you'll find shops like this. This is primarily a clothing shop, but they do have some water bottles here, so we can just go ahead and buy one quickly and have a quick swig. Go ahead and press the button to take a sip, or hold the button to drink as much as you'd like. Once you're done with it, you can dispose of it, or just not, and it'll automatically go away whenever you pick up a new item. In order to drop a bottle or anything else that you might be holding, you'll need to hold F again to get into the inner thought system and hover over it. Unfortunately, the grenades are in the way in this case, so we'll press F1, and on the bottom of the screen we'll go into the third tab, which is the Equipment Manager. We'll need to go ahead and unequip these grenades. Simply highlight the item that you'd like to unequip, make sure to click on the red unequip button, and do that for any subsequent items that you'd like to unequip. Keep in mind, these triangles here indicate that you've not saved your selection, so you'll need to click on the button on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen in order to save it. Note that clicking this button can take a few seconds to pop in, so just give it some time. And so as you can see, we've unequipped the grenades and we are good to go. We'll just pick up another water bottle since we don't seem to be holding ours anymore, and we'll try doing that again. Nice catch. Alright. Let's try this again. We'll hold F and look down at the water bottle. You do have to move your mouse down considerably in order to get this menu. And now we're able to click, and we have several different kinds of options. Stow will actually put it into your personal inventory, but you can also place it, which will let you place it anywhere in the world, such as that. And then you can of course just drink it as well, or you can drop it where you are. Since I'm running a bit low on water, I'm just going to quickly buy a couple of bottles and put them inside my inventory. Just so you know though, the bottles do need to be closed and you can't have started drinking them in order to do so. If you've started to drink it, you won't be able to place it into your personal inventory. Note again that smaller objects like this usually go directly into your personal inventory when you stow them, and they usually don't need to be equipped in the inventory manager using the Mobiglas. Pressing I will bring up the inventory again. This is the personal inventory, and as you can see there, we've got our water bottles as well as some MREs consisting of beef chunks, which I'm sure are completely edible. Okay, I think I've got enough water, so let's go get some food, and we'll make a few stops along the way to check out a few things. Over here on the right is Dumper's Depot. It's a pretty common chain that you can find around the verse, and you can buy different kinds of ship components there to upgrade your ships. Behind me are some mailboxes, and you can use these to either pick up or drop off deliveries if you're doing box missions. Taking the hallway behind the stairs here is going to lead us to the other side of Port Alsar, and here we can find the defense shop where you can buy a number of different suits, including armor and different accessories. Pulling a 180 here, it'll take us directly down the hall towards the weapons shop, and this is where we'll also find, curiously enough, some food. There's a bunch of weapons here, but if you go up to the counter, hello there. If you look at the food there, there's a few options, not too much, but again, not too bad for a weapons shop. We'll just go ahead and buy one and eat one now since we've got our helmet off. And like I said, totally not questioning the quality of those beef chunks. You can also stow these just like you can with the water bottle, so we're just going to go ahead and do that quickly. And then that way you can make sure that you have at least have some food and some water with you the next time you're out in space and you're getting a little thirsty or hungry. Note that it can take a few seconds to bring up the personal inventory when you press I, and it can take a further few seconds to see your inventory as you've stowed things away. This is complete normal, at least for now. Whether you like it or not, PvP will likely be a part of your life at some stage in your career during Star Citizen, and so these weapons are very important. Your ship can't always be counted on to defend you, and FPS weapons are important for when you don't have the privilege of being in an armistice zone. There's a bunch of different weapons available here and at other weapon merchants throughout the verse. You can hold F and press on the inspect button to have a look at any of them, and any number of them are available from pistols to LMGs, sniper rifles, and even rocket and grenade launchers. There's also different ammo that's available down here, and you can also find different attachments and accessories here. Note that you can go to the console of the shop and you can find even more things there. You can also buy things or inspect things directly off the wall if you so wish, and you get the price as well as the description and some basic information about the product. Behind us is said console, and you can use this to access the ship's full inventory. Just go ahead and press F if you're close enough, or hold F and click, and you'll notice that there's a few categories here. You can go ahead and shop for a weapon, and I think I want to buy a pistol today, so we'll just go ahead and look for a basic one, and I think this Arclight pistol looks just fine from KW. In the middle you've got a nice model of the pistol to show you what it looks like, and over on the right hand side there's a bunch of different information ranging from the model, also the manufacturer, the type of weapon that it is, the kind of damage that it does, the magazine that it takes, as well as some descriptions about the product. And towards the bottom of the screen we can see the price of the product, as well as a couple of buttons to go back to browsing or to purchase the product. Up here you can choose the number of products that you'd like to purchase. For me, I just want to get the one for now, so we'll just go ahead and click on one. And then if you look below here, you'll see the number of credits that you start out with, the price of the actual item you're buying, and what your balance will be once you purchase the item. And when you're ready, just go ahead and click this button, and that's it. You've got yourself a weapon. We will need a magazine for this as well, so I'm just going to pick up a few magazines, and we're going to switch over to the attachment section here and look for the Arclight Energy magazine. And it looks like that's the one, but it's always a good idea to cross-check to make sure that you're getting the correct ammo for the right gun. In this case, everything looks fine, so just going to go ahead and click on this, and then just follow the steps that I did back when I was buying the pistol. Go ahead and choose the amount that I want, check the price, and then at the bottom there's a button to click when I'm ready to make my purchase. Even though you're not able to use weapons in an armistice zone, especially FPS weapons, you can equip them and have them on your person. In order to do that, we'll just need to press F1 again to get back into the Mobiglas and get into our equipment manager, which again is the third tab from the bottom. Once we're here, just go over to the weapons tab at the top. Scroll down the left column until you see sidearm. And as you can see, I've already got something equipped there, so I'll just go ahead and click the red unequip button to get rid of that, and click on the save button on the bottom right hand corner of the screen to save my changes. Once that's done and the orange exclamation mark goes away from the item, just go ahead and equip the item that I bought, which was the new KW Arclight pistol. And then here I can also add an attachment, which I just happen to own, so I'll just do that quickly. Okay, a few more accessories later and I'm good to go. So at this point we just need to save our changes again. Make sure to always remember to save your changes, otherwise if you leave the Mobiglas before doing so, you will not be saving anything at all, and it can be quite frustrating. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but now we've equipped our item, you can see it on our model here, and now we are good to go. Note that the same process does apply for equipping undersuits and different types of utility items, as well as any pieces of armor. And different pieces of armor can vary the amount of room that you have for primary, secondary, and utility items, so keep that in mind when you're buying your gear. This crypto key also has to be equipped, and we'll talk about that in a future video. It's used in lowering your crime stat. There's not much to see here in the technology tree, but if you are ever around New Babbage, you can always buy a new variant of the Mobiglas, which really just changes the model of the Mobiglas itself on your wrist. I've got this crimson one here laying around, so I'm just going to go ahead and equip that. Just like equipping ourselves with armor, weapons, and utility items, you can equip your ships as well. Ships have components that range from power plants to quantum drives to all sorts of different weapons, and these weapons and different components can be purchased all around the verse. There is a caveat though. As you can see in the list, we have some ships that have a red padlock beside them, and if you were to click on them, they would tell you that it's read-only. The reason for that is because you're not allowed to remotely manipulate ships. You need to have them in the same space station as you're currently at. So that means that any ships that I would have landed at Lorville, I cannot modify when I'm not at Lorville. And same as Port Olisar or really anywhere else. And doing so is quite easy. All you need to do is just select the ship, and you can go ahead and change out any components that you own, be it weapons or shields or quantum drives, the same way that you would change any suits or weapons or accessories on your character. And you can do it all from this menu. It's really quite nice, and there's a number of different resources online that you can go to, like Gallog or Urkel Games, that allow you to check out what the best different components are for different ships, as well as share your loadouts with other pilots around the verse. And since this is a pretty stock alpha here, I'm just going to quickly take some time and put on some higher end components on it. Just like equipping yourself with different kinds of weapons, suits, or other gear, your ships are no exception in that you need to click on the button to save your loadout before you continue. You'll get those exclamation marks, and those should help you remember, but there's been so many situations where I've forgotten to save it, and I thought I was going out into deep space with a beast, and it turns out I had a stock ship, so don't make the same mistake I did, and make sure to save your progress. As of the writing in this video, I don't have any paints available for my alpha, and to be quite honest, I'm not sure if any exist at the moment, but you do have the option of buying different kinds of paints for your different ships, and some of them can be bought with aUEC simply from a kiosk, and others can be done through pledging on the RSI website. As many other citizens will tell you, Star Citizen is still full of bugs. I mean, it is an alpha after all. Sometimes you run into bugs that you can't get by. There's a solution for that. Just hold backspace, and if you're on foot, your character will be reset to the last location where you landed with your ship. So in my case, that would be Port Olisar. You'll wake up in the habitation, and you'll be able to press Y just like we did in Lorville to get up out of your bed and continue on your journey. If you're in your ship, however, holding backspace will initiate the self-destruct on your ship, and then it'll be up to you whether you want to go down with your ship or whether you want to eject yourself out of harm's way. Please note that whether your ship is destroyed that way or any other way, you'll need to claim it, and you can do so at any of the ship retrieval consoles available at any of the space stations that have them. And the claim button will be in the place of the retrieve button, so it'll be quite easy to do so. You can also pay an expedited fee to move this process along faster, but you don't have to. Moving along, just wanted to quickly show you the MoTrader tool. This is used to send money to any player in the verse, whether or not they are online. It's great. You can send money to anyone that's on your friends list, or you can simply use the search box at the top of the tool to find someone that is not on your friends list or that you don't know, and you can send money really easily. There is a caveat, of course, and that is that once you find whoever you want to send money to and plug that number into the field right here, you will need to pay a small fee in order to send that money, but the fee is nominal and it's usually not a problem. For those of you who want to run missions or do so-called quests in Star Citizen, there's a part in the Mobiglas for you too. Just click on this button here and it will take you to the contract manager. In the first tab, you'll have general contracts that are divided by different categories, and in each of these categories are a number of different missions that you can do. On the right side, you'll find different information pertaining to the mission at hand, including how much they're willing to pay, who is offering the mission, and any of the mission details. I would really recommend you reading these, especially if you get your missions from the personal tab, which could be less legal, let's say. Any of these missions that are illegal can land you a crime stat, which can land you in jail. And yes, there will be a video for that. The Accepted tab will show all the missions you've accepted, the History tab will show all of the ones you've completed, and the Beacons tab will show all the beacons that you have active. The beacons are a way of paying players, and this was implemented before the Trader app was here, in order to provide you with an escort or with a ride. And these can be metered, so you can pay by time or you can pay with a lump sum. And if you're doing transportation beacons, you can even set a destination where you'd like to go and set up the contract that way. It's quite easy. This next tab here unfortunately doesn't have much functionality at the moment, but it's likely to have some in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. This screen, when you've landed on a supported pad with your ship, allows you to do a number of things, including repair any damage of your ship, restock any of the weapons that you have on your ship, as well as refuel. And you can refuel the hydrogen, which is used in atmosphere mostly, and the quantum fuel, which is used to jump in quantum travel. Finally, if you're looking for a little bit of bathroom reading, you can go to the journal here, and the journal will give you information about different facets of the game, including a little bit of lore and some information about the things you've done. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. It really means a lot to me. If there's anything I missed, or if you have any more questions, just leave those in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing, it's free, and ringing the bell so that you never miss a video in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.